Greetings, and welcome back to the Gaming Movie Jerks. Today we're looking at the greatest video game soundtracks of all time, or at least out of all the games we've actually played before.
Obviously, we haven't played every game out there, so feel free to leave your favorites down below. I'm sure there's a lot of great soundtracks out there that we've never heard before.
You'll certainly notice that we have specific tastes when it comes to video game music, but anyways, let's just get started with our number 10 pick.
At number 10 on our list is the first Final Fantasy. The battle theme, which is playing right now, is one of the most iconic pieces of video game music of all time.
But outside of that iconic theme, you'll find that the rest of the game has similarly great music, even if it's not as iconic. Most of the songs in this game are fairly short and simple. They don't even make use of all 4 channels that the NES sound chip has available. But despite that, Final Fantasy manages to have a great, memorable soundtrack that suits the grand scale of this epic but flawed RPG.
Some of my favorites from the game include the town theme, because it's just simple and calming, which fits the location very well. My other favorite is the victory theme, because it's catchy and it really does make you just want to celebrate after a harsh and difficult battle.
My other favorite, aside from the battle theme, is the Flying Fortress theme. I mean, just listen to it. It's cool! Anyways, on to the number 9 entry on our list. At number 9 on our list is The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. The track playing right now is the Overworld theme, and this song is basically like a remaster of the original Legend of Zelda's Overworld theme, which is pretty cool. In fact, the entire game is sort of like that. It's like the first Zelda, but with better graphics and better music, a bigger world, and so on.
This game's soundtrack also does great with atmospheric stuff, like in caves or on the mountain. I think the Dark World themes are a cool twist on the regular world music. My only complaint here is that there's only one boss theme, and there just isn't as much music as you'd expect from an SNES RPG.
Still, Link to the Past has iconic music, and it's definitely my favorite entry in the series. Another one of my favorite themes is the Hyrule Castle theme, which is an epic piece of music to start off your journey as Link.
My favorites would be the Dark World Overworld theme, because of its cool twist on the Overworld theme, which by itself is already a great theme in my opinion. But it's not as great as the Dark World Dungeon theme, which again is a great twist on the normal dungeon theme. At number 8, we have Hollow Knight. This Metroidvania has atmospheric music that fits each area of the game, while also having really good and exciting boss music.
The music overall is pretty good, I just didn't really hear it that much when I played through the game. With other games on the list, the music is like a huge part of the game, and in some cases the most memorable part. But in this game the music I think was less memorable, and it just didn't really seem very important to the game, at least to me.
Despite that, the atmospheric stuff in the game is truly amazing. One of my favorite tracks is the Fungal Waste music, which fits the area perfectly. It's bouncy and the tone kind of wanders, much like you do in this area looking for Cornifer. My other favorite track would be the Nightmare King, as it is just super heavy and fast-paced. It works really well for this boss in particular, as he's super fast and monstrously difficult.
My favorite, apart from the Radiance theme which you heard first, is the Crystal Peak music. This one demonstrates the atmospheric style that a lot of this game's music uses very well. It starts off very calm, and there isn't really much music at all, it's really just mostly wind noises. But over the course of the track it starts to build. It ends up being a song that shows off both sides of this game's soundtrack. At number 7 on our list is Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. First of all, the Popple Battle theme, which is playing right now, is one of the best boss battle themes in video game history. The boss battle music is what stands out most in this game.
This is kind of proven by our favorites, including 3 boss battle themes and only 1 overworld theme. I chose the song we played first, the Popple Battle, and the final battle with Cackletta, which I really like because of its heavy and fast-paced riff. Overall, I don't really have much else to say about the soundtrack of this game. It is just really unique and often pretty catchy.
I can't say that I have a whole lot to say about this game either. For my favorites, I picked the Fawful theme, which is fairly short but extremely catchy and fun. And I picked the Tihee Valley theme. Tihee Valley is one of the most brutal parts of the game, but I do like this bouncy and fun piece of music that goes along with it. Anyways, on to our next pick.
Our number 6 pick on the list is Chrono Trigger. This game does really well all across the board with its music. It has massive variety of music and does amazingly with different themes, specifically like peaceful music, as well as spooky or mystical music. It has both catchy music and more complex orchestral stuff.
This one is also unique on our list in that neither of us have really played this game that much, but when we listened to this soundtrack we knew it had to make the list. I know, another RPG, but it's not my fault that they consistently have some of the best music.
My favorite, other than the song we first played, would be Site 16. I really like this one mostly just because it's so different from everything else in the game. It is fast and catchy, and it kind of makes you want to sway back and forth to the rhythm.
My favorites from this game are The Trial, which has this kind of bouncy rhythm, but then later switches up and adds even more cool parts. My other favorite is the Corridor of Time music. Again, I've never played this game before, but despite that, this game does such a great job with establishing imagery, it almost feels like I know what the Corridor of Time is supposed to look like. number 5 is one of my favorite games of all time, The Messenger. One of the main things that makes this game's soundtrack so cool is the, spoiler alert, but time travel. Because when you go into the future, the graphics and music change from an 8-bit NES style to more of a 16-bit SNES or Sega Genesis style. So this means that every track in the game has both an 8-bit version and a 16-bit version.
Some of my favorites would be the 8-bit Forlorn Temple theme because it is clearly NES style, but just so different from what I might normally hear. My other favorite I chose was the 16-bit Bamboo Creek theme, also called Bamboo Boogaloo 2, for its deeper riffs that just fit the area very well.
My favorite track from this game is the 16-bit Quillshroom Marsh theme. This is just such a great piece of music. It has this basic central theme, and most of the main melodies in the song are sort of variations on this theme. But the rhythm behind it changes often. The result is a song with a super catchy hook, but it changes up often enough that it never even remotely gets old.
Here at number 4 on the list is the original Doom. While I think the soundtrack itself deserves higher on the list, there is one simple fact that keeps me from letting it into the top 3. Doom has many songs that are straight rip-offs of other songs, especially from the band Pantera. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. On level E3M1, the song Untitled sounds like this. While the Pantera song Mouth for War sounds very similar like this.
Obviously, Doom's soundtrack is similar to a lot of metal bands from the time. For me personally, that's not that big a deal, but of course not every song in this game is a heavy metal song. There's also plenty of spooky tracks to add to the atmosphere. For example, the song from E2M6, which is entitled Sinister. The spooky songs really do add a lot to the levels that use it. Doom can go from being a fast-paced, action-packed shooter in one level to a slower-paced, almost horror game in the next level, and it's all thanks to the music.
My favorite track in the game was Hiding the Secrets, the track for the first secret level in the game. I really like this song simply because of how fast it is at the beginning. It just makes you want to headbang immediately out of the gate.
At number 3 on our list is Mega Man 2. Obviously, this is the incredibly iconic Dr. Wily stage music playing right now. This game's soundtrack is, in our opinion, the best the NES has to offer. All the Mega Man games on the NES have great soundtracks, but this one has to be the best and the most iconic.
Mega Man isn't necessarily one of my favorite games, but I can't deny that it has one of the most classic soundtracks ever. When I think of video game music, I usually go straight to the 8-bit era, which quickly leads me to Mega Man. Before I get into the favorites, I should mention that this game only has one boss theme, while other Mega Man games usually have more. That's really the only thing you can hold against this game though. For my favorites, I picked the Metal Man stage because I really like the syncopated rhythm, which may or may not be the right term. I also picked Heatman stage, which I enjoy the fast drum beat of and how it just fits the stage with all the flowing lava and such.
My other favorite is the music for Bubble Man stage. Just like Heatman's music fits great in a fire level, Bubble Man's music fits great in a water stage. It's also just a fun, catchy piece of music. At number 2, we have Stardew Valley. This game absolutely nails peaceful themes, as you can probably hear from our first song. Although it also does really well with spooky themes, and the songs specifically made for each character are perfect for their respective personalities. I also find this game, especially its soundtrack, very inspiring simply because it was all done by one person. Not only that, the creator of Stardew Valley, Concerned Ape, has said that he didn't have any training in art or music before making this game. The fact that he made a soundtrack this good and this complex without any training in music is pretty amazing to me. All the songs in this game have so much going on. They're usually several minutes long with several different sections and all kinds of different instrumentation being used. There's such a huge range of music in this game, and it's all really good. It's even more incredible that it was done by just one person.
I fully agree with Jordan about the complexity of the songs in the game, along with just how diverse they often are. For my favorites, first I chose The Wind Can Be Still, which is just so peaceful and cold, which makes sense as it is a winter song. My other choice is Penny's theme, mostly because of the instruments used in the song.
Both of us had the same overall favorite, one of the fall themes entitled The Smell of Mushroom, which we played first. My other favorite aside from that one is one of the summer themes, Nature's Crescendo. This is such a fun, happy, upbeat song. It does such a great job of evoking the good parts of summer, even though I usually tend to agree with Abigail when it comes to summer.
Overall, the game is just so diverse and has so many different instruments in each song. It deserves the number one spot if it weren't for the nostalgia of the next game on our list. But first, let's talk about some honorable mentions.
Our first honorable mention is Cuphead. This game's soundtrack was recorded live by a real jazz band, which is pretty cool. But I think the concept of this soundtrack is better than the soundtrack itself, honestly. It deserves mention because it's so unique, but as someone that doesn't really enjoy jazz music, I can't say that it's one of my favorites.
Another honorable mention of ours is Need for Madness 2. We picked this game because its soundtrack is very unique, and I haven't heard anything like it in any other game. However, it simply doesn't deserve the top 10, because the creators of the game did not write this music, they simply downloaded it off the internet. The fact that the music wasn't specifically composed for the game sets it apart from all other games on the list in a negative way.
Those honorable mentions weren't included for specific reasons, but our other two honorable mentions just didn't quite make the list. Next up is Super Metroid. It's not that there's anything specific I can hold against this soundtrack, it just wasn't quite good enough to crack the top 10. It is a cool soundtrack with both exciting and very atmospheric themes that fit the gameplay well. It just doesn't quite make the top 10, but we do feel that it deserves an honorable mention.
Our last honorable mention is Shovel Knight. This is really number 11 on our list because it comes so close to making the list, but it just falls a bit short. It obviously goes for an 8-bit NES style, but I just don't think it hits that mark quite as perfectly as other games on our list. Overall, it's just barely beat out by Final Fantasy.
Alright, it's time for the number one game on our list.
Pokemon Gold! I guess technically just Gen 2, but I always played Gold, not Silver or Crystal. This game is number 1 because of its immense diversity in music, the sheer volume of songs, and of course, nostalgia. Both Jordan and I played this game a lot when we were youths, so nostalgia is a pretty big factor. The song we played first is, in my opinion at least, a masterpiece and the most epic song for the final battle of the game.
Caden mentioned the immense amount of music in this game, and it really is impressive. Most NES game soundtracks weren't even half an hour long, but this Game Boy Color game somehow manages to cram nearly 2 hours of music in it. And all the music is really good, too. You have the aforementioned Champion Battle theme, which is definitely one of the greatest pieces of video game music of all time. My other favorite in this game is the Route 38 and 39 music on the road to Olivine City. It has this kind of driving military march rhythm, and overall the song evokes that exact feeling of adventure that you want from an RPG like this. It may not be one of the songs that immediately jumps out as a highlight on the soundtrack for most people, but it's always been one of my favorites.
My favorite, other than the champion battle, is the Game Corner theme for its speed and just overall how catchy it is. I also liked the Dark Cave theme because of the heavy droning background of the song that makes it feel spooky. Overall, this game's soundtrack is absolutely amazing for a multitude of reasons. For one, it is technically impressive, both in fitting this many songs on a Game Boy cartridge and being able to make such complex songs with the limitations of the Game Boy Color sound chip. It also has just a lot of music that is diverse and all really fun to listen to. And for me, it brings back many memories of some of my first gaming experiences. That's all we've got for you, and we will see you guys next time on the Gaming Movie Jerks.